Safar Wheeler the third, the artist, the founder, the president of the ONYXCON Foundation. How y'all doing today? I'll tell you how I'm doing. It's humid out here. It's weird. It's like I'm damp, you know what I mean? Like with the heat. And let me see, what is it right now? It's like it's gotta be close to 80. I think the high today was like 83. 80, it's 79. Yep. You can feel it. When you get to that 80, you can feel it, especially when it's humid. And it's been slightly rainy, just like misting rain in the metro area, but not like full blown. It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird, like something I noticed about my YouTube audience, the come and go audience that we have here. Like what happened is, anybody who's been watching the content regularly and is truly a fan that is always here knows I recently got a new device to keep this steady for what I'm doing right now, right? And it's one of them clip-on things, so like I'm really hoping it's going to stay in place. As I even say this, I'm hoping it's going to stay in place throughout this broadcast and not flip off or slip off or do anything strange. But anyway, I was doing my stuff horizontally instead of vertically for a while. For the last, I don't know, it's been a minute. And then I decided recently, as of today, I said, man, I need to go back to my vertical, because I noticed that when I was live the other way, people would come and go like they always do. I mean, I always average in and out, coming in, check out, take a look. Whatever reason they don't like it, they don't want to stick around, they don't have time. They like it, but they don't have time. It's all these reasons. I know this. I mean, I have friends who told me, hey man, I saw you live the other day. I just couldn't listen, man. I had to get back to work, but I wanted to listen. So, I know how it goes. I don't take it personal when it's my real ones, but I don't take it personal, period. Why bother, right? But one thing that is annoying, though, I said, how is it I would average no less than one? I always get one new subscriber, right? Sometimes I average 2 to 3. It's pretty common. 2 to 3 was pretty common. But for some strange reason, I wasn't getting no new subscribers off of lives. I'm getting plenty off of my shorts. Shorts is booming. 5 in the building. What's happening? Let's get the thumbs up, please, as you continue to listen. If you appreciate what we're talking about, go on and hit the thumbs up. We appreciate you. Become a part of the monetization nation. Oh, 19 in this. See, it's going up. I think it's format. I really do. It's weird, but if you stream horizontal, I think the algorithm's against you, and I think the amount of people that might see you is against you. For some reason, YouTube doesn't allow a lot of people to check you out when you do it. I'm talking about just to turn the camera the long way. Like, I got a device that lets me do that with the way it's set up, and I was like, I'll do it that way, switch it up a little bit, do something different. I'm telling y'all, it messed with my numbers. I literally, in a matter of days, have noticed. I was like, what the hell going on? Why are they tripping about that? Like, if people are that lazy, they don't turn their phone to the side. Like, hell, they do it if they were watching a movie or some video or something on their phone, and if that's the format, they're gonna turn. Like, why are they tripping? Is that what it is? I don't know, y'all. I don't know. And the problem with social media is, for all the tools they give you to figure out how to get ahead, it don't really tell you nothing, because you still be kind of stuck like, man, what's really working and what's not? Like, you don't know. You just throwing the dice, man. You out here trying whatever you can and just keep throwing stuff against the wall, something gonna stick. How about that? That's what we're gonna do. And I have proven that theory. We got our 1,800, 1,800. Shout out to my 1,800 plus subscribers. Thank you so much. I see you. I appreciate you for believing in what we're doing here and loving it, not leaving it alone, not dipping in and dipping out and not hitting the buttons, like the real ones, the ones who hit the subscribe button, the ones who hit the like button, the ones who are here day in, day out, checking it out, loving what they see, enjoying what we're doing, understanding the concept of multi-niche content. It's nothing new. It's just, I'm putting a hashtag name to it, so to speak, for basically you got multiple topics on one channel, which is not, like I say, not nothing new. It's just because of the way this thing is set up, it kind of preaches against that. Every, you know, so-called YouTube mogul, all these influencers always tell you, all these master brains that act like they work for YouTube, be saying, always pick one niche and just really wear yourself out and stress yourself out about staying in your niche. You ain't got to stay in no damn niche. People don't stay in their niche. In a day, people don't do one thing. All that says to me is you're limiting your possible audience. If you find people being real people, they're gonna like more than one thing. They're gonna do more than one thing. And the stuff they don't do, they're either gonna watch it because they're curious, and honestly, it's just amazing that they can't other people do stuff they don't do, or they're gonna share it. They're gonna say, oh man, my cousin liked to fish like this dude, because I love to fish. They're gonna show the fishing videos to their family. So now you got more audience. Somebody likes hip-hop music. Okay. Somebody like my review of the last Ice Cube album. They're gonna share it because they had similar perspectives as I did about the album. Now they like that. Somebody else liked it because they told them about it. This is how it really works. This is how people's minds really work. Everybody's not a gamer, but a lot of people are. And I know that the main demographic of who's on YouTube is fellas, okay? It's a lot of gentlemen up in here worldwide. Shout out to the ladies. I wish there were more ladies up in here because I want more ladies on my page, honestly. I really do. Or at least a balance. That would be great. Because I understand why my content appeals more to fellas, because it's traditionally dudish stuff, you know what I'm saying? Cars, certain types of music. I'm hollering at the honeys when I'm out and about. I travel, I'm from the perspective of a straight man, so I get it. You know, ladies don't like to see you ooh-oohing and eyeing over for other women. You know, that gets on their nerve, most of them. Some of them ain't that shallow, they don't care. They be like, okay, good for you. And if they like you, they still gonna shoot their shot when they get in front of you. So it's like, it's all to the gravy. It's all good, you know? It's all good with the real ones. But that be the ones who subscribe. So this is all I'm talking to anyway. You got to narrow the numbers down anyway. In this live so far, I'm seeing the number fluctuate. I'm seeing it go up to 20. Now we down to 4. It was 5 a second ago. This is how it go. In a minute, it'll be 0. You know, I don't give a damn. The real one's going to hit that subscribe button. The real one's going to hit that thumbs up. Ain't nobody hit the thumbs up yet, so I know this is not subscribers. Subscribers do this. They let you know we here. What's happening? What's good? ONYXCON all day. They my ones. They salute. They know what it is. Everybody else just curious and wondering, what's he talking about? I don't get it. Go take your mental pills. I literally want y'all to leave if you don't hit that damn subscribe button. If you don't hit that like button right now. Bye-bye. All right. All right. Okay. Oh, look at that. All right, this is real different. I guess it's the lag in the video. That's what that is. I've learned that's what that is. When I had to dip off for a minute and come back, and there's people still there, I'm like, why would they still be here? I cut it off for a minute. Usually they leave when I do that. It's because it's lagging. Y'all just catching up to what I said 2-3 minutes ago. So that's what that is. I realize that's what that is now. All right. So who gonna hit that? Who gonna be the first to hit that thumbs up? That's what I need to see. And if we got a subscriber in the building, you have to be a subscriber to talk. This ain't the open chat for everybody to be an asshole. Come on, trolls. No, we don't do that over here. Well, this is a grown folk channel over here. We respect everybody over here. We come correct or not at all. We come correct or not at all. See, I love to say that because some people they've never heard that kind of discipline their whole life. So they need to hear that. They need to hear somebody grown, older, telling them, yes, there are limits, little boy, little girl. You can't do everything you want to do. They don't like that. They don't like that. They really think they ought to be able to just act a total fool out here. This ain't the place. This ain't the place. This ain't time or the place. Speaking of that kind of energy that I come from my era, and I was talking about Ice Cube earlier. Shout out to Cube, done dropped another video. This is a follow-up video to Before Hip Hop. If you haven't seen it, especially the young folk, because that's who that's for. I realize, because honestly, it's a good video in the sense of, you know, a concept is cool, the way they manifested, the editing especially. There's a lot of good editing. As somebody who edits my own content, Editing was not something I enjoyed doing until I had to learn it, and then now it's not even about liking it. It's just it just goes with the life. If you're gonna do YouTube, you gotta edit your stuff. If you're saving some money and know how to get ahead and build your talent base and your skill levels. So I do my own editing and all that. So when I'm watching a video or anything like this, and then also I'm in the film biz, I'm an actor, I'm doing all that. I understand beats, takes, I understand B-roll, I understand, and this whole thing is nothing but B-roll. He just basically got a lot of clips. Whoever the director and final editors were, they got a bunch of clips from probably the mid 60s through the mid 80s, but definitely it covers the 70s into the 80s, which is, if you didn't know, that whole time period. You could basically start with like 65. Is the soil for what became hip-hop cultures, plural. Okay, all of that would have came out of everything that happened in the mid 60s forward. And of course the elements of the culture are they're ancient, quite frankly. All right, this is old African culture, straight up, certain parts of it. Now the urbanization, the blight, the effects of poverty and all that, that's what made hip-hop hip-hop, because it had to grow out of taking nothing and making it something, getting the worst of everything and turning it into something amazing. So that's still not, I'm not saying it's pure hip-hop to go all the way back, but I'm saying the roots of it all definitely go all the way back, like everything else that we've created. But this video shows archival footage of stuff that happened in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and it's quite interesting for that. Now, me being somebody who's a historian by nature and grew up in looking into history and wanting to understand the true origin of things and all that, who this is? Oh, okay, what's up? Ramon in the house. República Dominicana. If that's, the name had to jar my brain a little bit, brother. Young brother from Dominican Republic, the Uber driver that helped me get all the way from Santo Domingo all the way up to Samaná, y norte de República Dominicana. Sí, amigo. What's happening, fam? How you been, brother? Mi familia. Little brother down there. Yeah, for real talk. Hey, man, I'm glad you staying in touch, bro. I'm always talking about Dominican culture and my trip and everything. And I know you're not gonna understand everything I'm saying now except for certain words, so I'm trying to say some things in Spanish. But man, I want to come back so bad, bro. I want to come back down there. I'm overdue for another visit. That was just my first. That was primera vacaciones. But I want to get dos vacaciones. Adventure, I need that. And you are definitely my go-to driver. I don't know if you're still doing that, but if you're still driving, bro, you already know. Hey, Ramon, let's go. Yeah, that's the homie right there. Y'all can see Ramon in action in my videos, man. Shout out to that brother. That's a good brother right there, for real. That's mi gente. I know that was him putting the thumbs up. Yes, sir. All day. But yeah, so, back to what I was saying about this video. I looked at it and I thought to myself, it's a good history lesson for anybody who doesn't know how gully and rugged it was in the 60s, 70s, and 80s in certain demographics of this nation, and how the blight and the downtrodden and the keeping lack of opportunities and gatekeeping against Black and Latino culture has been going on forever in this country. There's nothing new. So I like that it showed that in a real way. You ain't just looking at words on a page, on a screen, and a couple of damn graphs and maybe 2 or 3 pictures. No, you're seeing situation after situation after situation of circumstances. And people just don't do these things or look this way just because. It's circumstantial. Like when they showed, he was talking about the addiction to drugs and how people had all these problems with that. And Cube starts naming all the stuff from back in the day, the heroin when that hit and how that affected and blew out whole neighborhoods and stuff. And of course, that's coming out of Vietnam, had the folk coming home with all kind of habits on top of what was going on in the streets back in America. They killing folk with a war with the drugs in America. Then they got them getting hooked, so when they come back, they still part of it when they come home. So folk came home with all these habits and stuff, you know. But what they show also is like when they show them close-ups, man, I don't care. I don't know who would think quick to know that that's a reality. Like, I just was really bugged out when I was reminded. Like I said, I've seen all this stuff before, but somebody's hand putting a needle in their arm, everybody's hands had long fingernails with dirt, just dirt, like in the whole hand looked like a mechanic's hand, like all day. They ain't even taking time to wash their hands. They just dirty. They in the street. They rubbing on the street. They grinding on the street. Everything's on the street. And I'm like, damn. Woo, it was woo. And I think to myself, there's still people who are that bad off, of course. But the instant word that goes to that is homelessness. But now you got thuggery where somebody can have less, be living in a really bad situation with rats, roaches, the whole nine, but they got the audacity to, if they are a robbing crew stealing clothes, for example, even if they reselling it, half the time, if you see these kids that are from the worst of it doing that kind of stuff, they're gonna have on some damn brand new whatever, you know, brand of Jordans or something like that. They're gonna have some kind of jewelry that they think whether it's, you know, real or not. They're gonna be trying to floss and flex like they got it so good, and they gotta have certain labels on. If it don't say this name or that name, they don't feel alive. And that would be the major difference I saw in the footage I saw from, like I say, late 60s through the 70s, early 80s. Now, and by the time you get to 80s, what I'm talking about had begun, full throttle. It was developing in the 70s, but it wasn't full throttle. 80s, I remember, that's when Gucci, Prada, all that old stuff, all them labels that focus so, this is supposed to be the best. Louis Vuitton, why you think Dapper Dan, even though now, look at the tables turn, look at the clock go around, look how it changes. He stayed alive, he lived through it all, the worst and the best of it, most of the worst. You know, he got his operation shut down. The very people who had him busted when he was doing bootleg remixes, so to speak, of these brands, because he would get their fabrics, their designer logo stuff, and recut it into his own designs, his own patterns. And that's how he got famous. He was doing it for the drug dealers. He was doing it for but this is at the height of the beginning of the crack cocaine era, coming out of the 70s boom with all the heroin stuff and all that. And there was other stuff on the street too, but especially that cocaine era. When that mess hit in the 80s, and it was coming in the 70s. It was all happening simultaneously. But like I say, when things become trending, when the music started becoming the soundtrack for the madness, well, here we go. Like, everything is connected. Everything is connected. Hold tight, y'all. I gotta check something. Okay, yeah, we good. So, yeah, like, when you really understand that everything's connected, and like, the main difference in what was being shown in that video, this new Ice Cube video for Before Hip Hop, is, if you want to just base it on what he gave as the title of the song, technically, and like I say, there is a good margin of time to make an official statement when the head leaders, historians of hip hop that still remain, KRS-One, all the legendary DJs that are still with us, DJ Flash, all these different legends, all these different rappers and DJs and breakdancers and graffiti artists that are still alive, right? Came together and did all these celebrations last year. This year is 51 years of hip hop. Hip hop is technically born in 1974, they say. And what they're saying is the elements were always there way before 74, but they're saying, and even some things that people doing, they were already doing, but it didn't become trending. It didn't have name in the press It didn't have a category for you to go in a store and ask for rap and maybe ask for hip hop. They may not know what that was, but they know these kids call it rap. And that's just the music. That ain't got nothing to do with the other elements. That's just the music. But in 74, okay, there you go. There's a beginning. As I always say proudly, I just turned 50. I was born in 75. Hello. So, again, nobody's speaking from just I heard and AI told me that. No. We talking about factual, lived it, what my parents told me, lived it, what friends that are older than me told me, lived it. And I can say with all my chest that, like, when you look at that footage, like I say, when people were poor back then, they were poor for real. Everybody looked like they got dressed out of the Goodwill in those videos where they was on the hood. Everybody. Nobody's stuff looked brand new. If it was brand new, you know they was the top hustlers and gangsters and whatever. But even then, those cats didn't have they didn't have no walk-in closets like folk have in these houses nowadays. Do you know that they didn't even build houses with closets like that unless you were ultra rich? You gotta get it. It goes in levels. Unless you were ultra rich in the 70s, you didn't have what is a walk-in closet? What the hell you talking about walk-in closet? You just had a damn closet. You may have had a pretty decent sized closet, but you didn't have no closet. You walked in and all four walls stack up to some high ceilings with levels and layers of here's my suits for rows and rows, and here's my collection of Jordan. What Jordan? There wasn't no Jordan. Michael Jordan wasn't born. Or take that back. If he was born, he was a baby. Jordan's heyday was the 90s, early 80s and 90s. His college years, everybody noticing, 90s full throttle. That's what you're talking about. And like everybody forgets timelines. Everybody just starts acting like everything that was already, it just been the same, it ain't changed. No, it's very different. It's very different. People didn't even look this way. Like a lot of stuff that, like, you look at that video, I'm telling you, that video is a historical document. They kept doing close-ups, you seeing folk with them razor cuts on their face from fights and stuff. I done seen some rough cats. I've been around some people who did stuff like that where they got them kind of battle scars. But I could count them on one hand is my point. You ain't about to see like every other person look like that. It was really crazy back then. There was a lot of lack of stuff that people take for granted that they have now. There was a lot of different stuff with the medical industry that people didn't have that they have now. In some ways it's better then, in more ways it's worse now. In some ways, but in other ways it was worse then. Like people just didn't even look healthy to me at all in that video. Like most people really didn't look healthy. They didn't. Not if they were in the worst situation. If they were in poverty, they looked like they were in poverty. And that's what I'm saying about now with these folks who, you got people in poverty, but everybody's so obsessed with pretending they're rich that I'm not speaking from just, I assume it's like this. You could say 10 years ago, because I've been in the business for 12, when I started in the film business, I can remember seeing the young folks come to set for movie sets. Like we had to do a big group with a bunch of young folk and every and they, you know, yes, y'all. What up? Back again. Go to friend, we back in. So as I was saying, bottom line is, y'all, if y'all haven't seen that new Ice Cube video, then I can say the new one. Watch the old one too. The old one's a cool example of the same things. It's just this one, they went deep. I feel like they used the references they had for the first one and decided to show them. Like, we're just going to take all the footage we compiled to create the acted out version and show people what we're talking about verbatim, because that's what this new one is. And the greatest thing about it has two cameos that you cannot miss: LL Cool J and the one and only legendary voice of power, is in the house. Go take a shower, boy. P.E., a group, a crew, not singular. We wear black Wranglers, we're rap stranglers. You can't angle us. I caught you listening. I caught you pissing your pants. You're scared of dissing us. The crowd is missing us. We're on a mission, boy. Yeah. Chuck D. I said, oh, that's what got me watching it. I said, at first I was like, I'll watch this later. I said, nah, I got to watch this now. You put it on your watch later list. I said, nah. As soon as I had a second, I said, press play. I want to watch it. I'm gonna probably watch it again later on on TV. But I was just watching it on my phone. I said, this is crazy, man. Just everything it depicts. But then the verses. I mean, LL just on a mission to make sure y'all understand. You gonna respect it. You gonna respect the GOAT. You gonna respect the GOAT. LL Cool J is no joke. No joke. So many words he's saying, in this track, which he said many other times in interviews and in other parts of his music, that because of how he grew up and who he was around growing up in Queens in the era that he grew up, he could have easily fell prey to the street and been the worst type. And he was like, y'all better be thankful I'm busting verses, because I could have been busting that. Like, I hear you, L. I hear you. And I mean, and with his physical presence, because LL's a big dude, man. He likes to work out. He likes to box. He likes to pump weight. He liked to, he could have been a horrible monster if he had went that way. But glad he didn't. We got enough folk like that. We need more people on the up and up. You know what I'm saying? And I like that he always knew that, and he, in his music, he always played the tough guy. But that's just simply, it goes just that far. It was never like he was pushing dope and, the worst levels of abuse and stuff. I say the worst levels because, he's still an artist. He did his dirt. He had his tracks here and there, stuff that was weird, whatever you want to call it. But he never made that his whole career. And he always had an identity that, for one thing, he could do a hell of a role play. He's an actor too. So, he know how to go in and out of character and give you an example of something without being that. And that's what always made artists like LL Cool J, Ice Cube, Ice-T, all them cats. That's why in my era growing up on them, it was such a unique time, because these were cats that were like creative news reporters. They gave you reenactments in the rhymes of certain kind of energy without being the problem. And that was always the message if you were really understanding what you were hearing and listening to and seeing. But now if you got caught up in the nonsense, because a lot of things is what I always say. That's why I hate that phrase for the culture, because if you go play on one, then it's gonna make it seem like, well, then in that case, I don't care how much they say or do, everybody's all the same. They all gangsters, they all crazy, they all into the drugs, that's not true. That's not true. And that's not hip hop, not true hip hop. So it's like, if you don't understand that, and if your brain isn't functioning on a level to differentiate percentages and gradients and grays versus black and white everything, then, you not just hip hop, you won't understand nothing in this world, because the human experience is gray, has gradients, is diverse, has different rooms you can go in and out of in the same house, and then others ain't got nothing to do with each other. They might be on the same street, but it's two different houses, different environments, different mentality. But you might say, but still technically the same neighborhood, because we drew a line around it. Yeah, because somebody else drew them lines. We didn't draw them lines for ourselves. If we did, we would have put a line between us and that other nonsense over there. That ain't us across the street. So that's what I'm always saying about for the cultures. Because then it's inclusive of what might make sense about even what's going on across the street that we generally are not about, but I can appreciate some things they do that are functional. But unfortunately, because of the dysfunction, they'll never even see their own light and get it right enough to truly heal their traumas and be the best they can be. So you gotta let go. You can't hold on to trauma and babysit it like, I love my trauma. Look at little trauma. Trauma gonna be so cute and grow up to be more trauma, big trauma. That's all trauma can ever be. Trauma don't change. That's the problem in everybody's communities when they're dealing with poverty and lack of. People fall in love with their traumas and they start reinventing new names for it and try and make it like it ain't what it is. Man, that's fucking trauma. Call it what it is. Stop trying to pretend trauma ain't trauma. and stop putting superficial things attached to people. You know, people be having this lack of self-esteem, so they can go and attach themselves to things that ain't got nothing to do with them. But in those communities, they make it, hey, that's us. That's what we do. And what if you study this stuff long enough, and there's the other thing I like about that video, when you look at this new Ice Cube video, it shows literally how much, even in fashion, the look of what was gangster and all of that back then in yeah, it never dies. The 70s was just so powerful. 70s was powerhouse of creativity. It was a paradigm shift in human existence. It really was. You know, to be born into it, to live through it. And I'm saying, but for those who are grown in that time, my parents, you know, and hearing their stories about, you know, I'm seeing it from a child's eyes, you're not interpreting it completely. You hear it from your parents' perspective, you realize, oh, that's what that was, and that's what was going on when that would happen, or this, that, and the other. When you start seeing it through your elders' eyes, and then you got comparative actual footage of something in different areas and districts of a country, of a nation, yo, then you can get realistic. Like, you know, Kendrick Lamar wore some bell-bottom style jeans at the last Super Bowl. All of us who born into the 70s, we knew what those were when we saw them. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, what are those? Where did he get those? I can't believe. We could care less about the label. All we first recognize is the style, the cut of the garment, and the era it reckons back to. You know? Then he modernized it with everything else. Quite frankly, he did a kind of a late 90s, 2000 homage with that jacket he had on that was designed kind of like a Pele jacket back in the day. So, you know, but he's that kind of artist who likes to tie the eras that shaped him and influenced him together. And he's got stylists and people who are making stuff for him custom that understand all of that. And that's their motive too, is to tie together the eras and stuff. But like I say, if you look at what's going on in that video, people didn't have, man, it was thrift type culture. You got what you could get. And the way you know it was that versus people literally buying a lot of stuff off the rack and having the money when it first come out. If you ever seen ads, which again, I grew up with this stuff around me. You know, you go to your grandparents' house, they keep the old Sears and Roebuck catalog or the whatever Life magazines and all this stuff. So you can look through there and see the ads for the lifestyle brands and for how clothes and style look, and how if you had real money, the car looked a certain way when it was brand new. The clothes looked a certain way when they were brand new, or, you know, right off the rack and all that kind of thing. And see that, and so like that, even that mentality of how people talk about clothes and wanting to have everything so new and fresh out the box and all this other, and this collector culture like it is with the sneakers and stuff, that shit didn't exist. Worrying about keeping your sneakers from getting creased all day. Excuse me? Man, you might have to put your foot in the fool's ass. So you ain't worrying about, you just want to make sure it's a sturdy enough shoe to be able to pull it up out that fool after you stomp in the mud. That's the kind of time that was, man. It was rough. It was damn rough. And people want to fantasize about stuff. Because the other part that happens is by the time Hollywood get a hold of it, they bring their stuff to it. And I know from being in that business how that goes. They mess up a lot of errors. I ain't saying everybody. Some people get it right. Some people are honest about the material. If you say, okay, we're doing a movie about what? Okay, what's the tax bracket of this? Okay, what's the education of this family? Okay, what's this character, that character? Okay, they really do the equation, and they get into it as a science. And they produce the best movies because they're honest about what it would have been. Even if it's a fantasy, even if we're gonna take it and twist it around and do something, we still gotta be true enough to the source material, just out of pure respect. Again, I always tell y'all, hell would always put money first. Bump that money first mess. It's respect first, then power, then money. You put respect first, you're gonna have a better everything. You put the art first, you're gonna get a better everything. People gonna appreciate it, they're not gonna forget it. It's not gonna be forgotten in a few, 5-10 years, man. What? Oh, that, damn, I forgot all about that. Exactly, because it's air. You know, But when you do it from the heart and you do it with, you care about the details, it shows. It shows. When I did the show American Soul, about the history of Soul Train, boy, that wardrobe department was off the chain. They went back and found stuff. Literally, they must have raided some 70s closets and 60s closets, because the stuff we were wearing on that show was so real. I hadn't seen clothes like that since I was a little kid with my grandparents and parents walking around and what they would have on and stuff. I mean, it was, and the weight of the stuff and the hotness of it, like even the summer clothes, like people wore this stuff in the summertime. No wonder if they was having a bad time with money, they was mad. Man, this shit is hot. Like, this stuff ain't light. This is some hot stuff, man. This stuff be hot, man. And it's like, it's crazy. It was crazy. I had this, what they call it, leisure suit. You know what a leisure suit is from back in the 70s. They put me in something like that, and it was so fresh too. I have pictures that I had to dig up to reminisce on that part of it all, but it was this green leisure suit, matching top and bottom. The pants were not really bell bottoms. They were like wide leg, which was another look. Everybody always make it like everybody just had number. Bell bottoms didn't last as long as people think they did. Even I didn't until I looked back to the research. It was a certain window, like a 5-year period, when bell bottoms was the shit. Like everybody wanted to have them. But everybody, first of all, couldn't wear them. It's just like skinny jeans. Skinny jeans are not made for nobody with no big legs. I never liked skinny jeans. Number one reason, just I don't like the way they look. Number two reason, they never would fit me. And I can remember being on movie sets where you got these younger wardrobe folk and they're doing some new thing, and they try and put you, I tell them when they hand them to, I was like, you need to put that back on the rack, young person. And they look at me like, first they don't think I'm as old as I am. I'd be like, I'm telling you right now, all we're gonna do is laugh when I come out this dressing room. Well, just try them. It was usually a woman. Only because of a woman I'd try them. Just to flatter her, we get our little joke in. But because if it was a dude, man, I'm not putting them shit. I literally told her, I'm not wearing that. I'm not wearing that. I'm not about to be out here looking like I'm wearing damn leotards. High water at that. You can take that shit somewhere else. I ain't that dude. You're gonna get more than your feelings hurt today playing with me. I'm not wearing those. You need to find something else. Well, that's what we got for you, sir. I mean, you can't rap. Well, fucking rap me, bitch. We're not doing that. There's some other stuff, but we're not doing that. No. And so no, I remember I would try some stuff, and I remember one time this lady convinced me to put up. I just told her, I said, come here. I didn't even want to step out the dressing room. It was so bad. She said, oh my gosh. I said, you understand now? She just, I'm so sorry. I'll get you something. I was like, yeah. Like, man, I look like the Incredible Hulk when he changed. When Banner turns into Hulk and the pants start splitting and they bust and it always, his calf's so big, you lose the whole bottom of the pants. All you got at the top when the Hulk fully changed. That's what it is to me. Somebody talking about, yeah, we're going to see about some skinny jeans. Man, don't get that sissy ass shit out my face. I ain't wearing that bitch shit up in here, boy. You can get your feelings hurt messing around grown ass folk now. We trying to be nice and not cut you with these old school words. We know y'all can't handle nothing. You called me, yeah, I got some worse ones. You keep playing, you gonna hear it. You ain't heard nothing yet. Keep going. Keep going. You ain't heard cuss words put together. We stack them like a sandwich. Like, yeah, let me get some Dijon. Okay, another layer of salami. All right, more ham, because they want that. Yeah, they want that ham. Mm-hmm. Yeah, oh yeah. Roast beef on them. Mm-hmm. Extra cheese. Let me get another slice of bread. Boy, we gonna stack it up on your ass. We don't give a damn, man. We from a different club. Can't help it. It's the parents. It's the era. It's all that stuff that was in that video, man. It's people who weren't poor in that era were just getting by or fronting or trying to look more than they were. It's a lot like how now in that way people front, but the difference was you almost couldn't front the same. Now with the scamming and the technology and the AI and the Photoshop skills and other apps, because everybody just says Photoshop interchangeably. Half the time they're not even using Photoshop. They don't even know they don't even know that Adobe makes. So you know Adobe. No, Photoshop. That's who makes Photoshop, you dumbass. Like they just saying the word. They just saying the word, old goofy asses, right? So I laugh at folk talking about this stuff. Like I say, it's so much fakeness now. But the difference in then, there was always people trying to fake it till they made it. Every era of human existence, I'd say especially once kingdoms were established, because that's when it all begins. People, if there's somebody who's at the top, everybody else thinks they want to be at that top. And some people ain't even made to be in that world of all that and that weirdness, because they be weird half the time at the top, and you don't want to be around them people. You think you want to be around them people. You don't want to be around those people. They ain't doing the stuff you doing. They might not love their kids. They might not kiss their kids before they go to bed. They may forget they even had kids. Kids are just a commodity to be sold, or raise them up to do what I want them to do. Slaves. And there's a lot of mentality there. Ruling class bullshit. That empire. You know, poor ass motherfuckers always talking about they want an empire. You don't want no empire. You don't even know what an empire is. You still got trauma about the last fisticuff moment at some punk ass job. Man, to be an empire, you got to have goons that's ready to kill 24/7, and have thrown away all their own personal love of family and everything to defend your dumb ass crown. That's empire. You don't want no empire. You don't want to manage that much heat. And don't throw in religious, all you religious type folk. Oh my gosh. How you gonna get right with your... Let me leave that alone. I got so much else I can say. I'm just gonna chill. I done said enough. I got them on the ropes, so I ain't gonna beat them to death. Let me leave it alone. Okay, it's always talking about, man, I want to be an empire. You want to be a boss. You want to be comparing themselves to this gangster and that gangster. Ain't nothing gangster about you. Leave gangster shit alone. Need to just be regular ass people and live a good life. Get away from the crazy. The damn gangster want to get away from the crazy. Why you trying to be them? The real ones want to get away from the crazy. That's what that video shows. That's what that video shows. I'm telling you. So on some levels, this is a very important thing. I just think demographically for me as an audience, I'm like, oh man, Professor Cube, I already know all this, man. When we gonna go to the next level in the class? It's like, that's how I feel. That's how I honestly feel. It's like, I guess you did this for the young folk to see how it was. But the sad part is, how many of them really saw that today when that video came out, probably yesterday or the day before? How many of them would even care? How many of them even know who Chuck D is or respectfully care? A few of them might know who LL is because he's still showing up in major ways, on major channels, on major networks, on major events. And, you know, he has his own Sirius FM channel. And, you know, it's kind of impossible not. But then, is that what they listening to? No, man, they listening to the other channels that I hear when I get curious of what these young folks listen to. They listening to the heat. They listening to, what's the one, Shade 45, Shade whatever, with Eminem's radio on Sirius. All the ones that play all the uncut trap type stuff. That's all them kids listening to. They don't care about our stuff. It's sad because they think that they created everything that they're imitating, everything that all the samples that folk got from our era, where our people sampled our parents' era, but we know that. So again, shout out to LL. They got salute to the sample. I love that. Where you have a guest DJ and they play the original track that was sampled, and then they analyze how the DJ dissected it and put it back together into the song we all know. That's real hip hop. That's teaching. That's edutainment at its best. That is what we need. I love that. Shout out to LL Cool J, Rock the Bells Radio for when they do that. That is the greatest thing when they do that. I've listened to at least, I probably only missed 2 or 3 of them over the years since that channel's been around. Because they'll repeat them. They don't just do them once. They'll play them again in rotation. And it's so educational. I be learning. I be like, yo, I didn't know that's what they sampled. Oh my gosh, I didn't know that's what he did to make that part sound like that. And I'm going to tell you something else you need to watch for that. Shout out to my homeboy, Diallo Riddle and Luxury, the 2 hosts of this show. One song on the